You can have a brand and still not know what it is. Here's the truth, right? I teach personal branding. I coach people through it. I run workshops and record podcasts and write newsletters all about it. I even sell digital products all about personal branding. But for the longest time, I could not tell you what personal branding actually was. I've repeated all those classic lines, brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room, or it's the vibe you give off, or it's your reputation, your presence, your positioning. But when someone looked me in the eye and asked, no, seriously, what is a personal brand? I'd smile and I'd nod and I'd probably awkwardly change the subject because deep down I didn't know either. And then I found this video from Caleb Ralston. Now, he's a content strategist who's worked around people like Gary Vee and a lot of big names in personal branding. He dropped one sentence that kind of broke the fog for me, and that is: a brand is what you pair yourself with again and again until the two of you are inseparable. That's pretty simple. It's pretty brilliant. It's unavoidable. Nike, for example, that he gives, didn't invent their brand. They borrowed it. Back in the 80s, Nike was a running shoe company, right? Track and field, marathons, joggers with big calf muscles. You got the picture. But then basketball started absolutely taking off, and Nike saw an opportunity. They didn't create a basketball culture. They didn't do any of that. They paired themselves with the man who defined that culture, Michael Jordan. They didn't run a campaign. They started a religion. The Air Jordan was more than a sneaker. It was an identity. It was a statement, a movement. And suddenly Nike wasn't for runners anymore. It was for champions, for high flyers, for those who just do it. Now, brand wasn't built by committee. It was built by alignment. And they did it again with the NFL, with tennis, with athletics, pairing with the top people of each of those pyramids until Nike didn't stand beside greatness. It was greatness. They didn't make a new product. They made a new association with the products they had. So that brings me to me, right? Because, it's my channel. Who have I paired myself with? Well, here's where it gets uncomfortable. If you ask someone in Darwin where I live, they might say, oh yeah, that's the guy who works with social media. Or if you ask someone on LinkedIn, oh, he's that personal branding guy. Then you go to a business conference and you'll hear, oh, he speaks about AI and SEO. You can ask someone who saw me in a regional workshop somewhere in New South Wales, and he said, oh, he taught us about Canva and ChatGPT. Now, all of these are right, and that's the problem. I've paired myself with too many things, too many topics, too many platforms, too many identities. And when you're everywhere, you're kind of nowhere. Because unlike Nike, I didn't make strategic pairings. I just said yes to pretty much everything that came my way. And that's not a brand, that's a resume. So now I'm stripping it back, not to pick a niche, but to, I suppose, find the values, the beliefs, the outcomes that I want to be known for. What do I want to be known for? And then pair myself with that repeatedly, unapologetically, publicly. Because if brand is association, then the associations, they have to mean something. So ask yourself, what are you consistently pairing yourself with? And here's a hard truth. You're already building a brand, whether you mean to do that or not. Every post, every client, every referral, every sentence you speak out loud, it's all building these pairings. And over time, those pairings solidify into a perception. Now, if you post daily about hustle culture and working in 100 hours a week, that's your brand. If you consistently comment on climate action and sustainability, well, that's your brand. If you show up in community projects, if you show up in supporting small businesses and you talk openly about mental health, that's your brand, whether you like it or whether you don't. So the question isn't, what should my brand be? It's maybe, what have I already paired myself with? And once you find the pattern, you can decide if it's the one you want to keep. That's it for this week. A bit of a short video about how to approach branding when all the advice we're given kind of makes zero sense at all. If you're not resonating with my videos, hey, you can click the unsubscribe button if you like. Even if we know each other, I probably won't even see it. I definitely won't be offended at all. But if you like what you watched, the greatest compliment you could give to me is to share it with someone that you know who you think may be able to use this. Have a great week ahead.